we start the individual questioning, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. And I'll just, usually we do this at the end, but I forget, so they put it in the beginning for me. So, do you agree, if confirmed, to appear before this committee or designated members of this committee and other appropriate committees of this Congress to provide information subject to appropriate and necessary security protections with respect to your responsibilities?
Yes, Madam Chairman, I do.
Yes.
I do.
Thank you. Do you agree to ensure that testimony, briefings, documents, and electronic and other forms of communications of information are provided to the committee and its staff and other appropriate committees in a timely manner?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Finally, do you know of any matters which may or may not have been disclosed that may place you in conflict of interest if you are confirmed?
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
All right. We will start the first round of questions, and my first question is for Brian Nesvik. You obviously, we've heard, that have served at every level almost within your state. And we know that the Fish and Wildlife, the service has regional and field offices. I'm sure you've interacted, but they do not always have the same depth of knowledge as, say, a state wildlife agency may have on an issue. I've heard from my West Virginia government officials of instances when they've tried to advise the agency on these local issues, and it's sort of fallen on deaf ears. So, because of your interactions in the past, will you please share your experience as Director of Wyoming Game and Fish with your department's efforts to coordinate with those state, regional, field offices, and how that experience will inform your efforts to strengthen the relationship between the service and those state agencies?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and certainly I have had many years of opportunity to interact with and work directly with different employees of the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, all the way from field employees up to previous directors. And so one of the things there's certainly at times there's this natural tension and friction between state and federal agencies, but I think one of the things that's been very helpful for me and would be helpful for me in this position if I'm confirmed is understanding both my frustrations with some of those decisions and interactions, but also understanding what challenges those folks face as well. Certainly, the Fish and Wildlife Service is guided and directed by congressional action and laws, as are state agencies, and a lot of times those interests are conflicting. And I recognize that and look forward to being able to bring my experiences and maybe a little bit different perspective to the United States Fish and Wildlife if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed.
Thank you. Thank you. We talked about this in our office, and thanks to all 3 of you for your visits. ECA Section 7 consultations are an important step in the federal permitting process, ensuring that threatened and endangered species as well as critical habitats are not jeopardized. While there are deadlines the service must meet for these consultations, they are often missed. The deadlines are missed, leading to costly delays. Will you commit to expediting Section 7 consultations while ensuring wildlife and their habitats are protected?
Madam Chairman, I'm very interested, as I stated in my opening statement, in giving this issue a hard look. I've heard about this from a lot of folks, and including you, and I appreciate our time in your office the other day. And so certainly I think it's an issue that I know it's an issue I'm very interested in digging into and trying to find out where we can find some efficiencies. I'm a strong believer, as I said, in using technology. Oftentimes processes get bogged down, and there's a lot in every day there's new technology available to help with those things, and I'm interested in looking at that. And my commitment to you is that I will take the deep dive into this issue.
Great, that appreciated, and thank you. I just have to call you Jess. I can't go to the Miss Kramer much more. It's too hard for me. So I was going to ask you about what's the motivation for you to move in this direction, but I'm going to skip that question because I want to get a little bit more specific with you. In West Virginia, we saw firsthand how innovative state-led approaches can deliver real environmental results, and I'm talking about the Muddy Creek Restoration Project. It successfully restored 19 miles of waterways that was impacted by acid mine drainage using a cost-effective watershed-based strategy. And this model was faster, more efficient, less expensive. And initially, it was launched under the Trump administration. Later, it was touted by the Biden administration for its success. but it was ultimately abandoned in favor of a slower, more bureaucratic process that threatens the progress of being able to clean up Muddy Creek. If confirmed, how will you get the EPA's Water Office back to proven, results-driven approaches like this Muddy Creek model I'm speaking about?
Absolutely. Thank you, Chairman. If I have the honor of being confirmed, one of the things that we will focus on in the Office of Water is looking at every one of the regulatory matrices that we implement as the EPA and looking for opportunities for both innovation as well as expediting, ensuring that we are still fulfilling our statutory and regulatory obligations. The project you mentioned is an exact opportunity for us to try to replicate, to look for those additional opportunities, and to offer not only for other locations in West Virginia, but also across the country. And so I would hope to be able to have the opportunity to replicate that model and continue to look for other opportunities to expedite projects in a similar manner across this country.
Thank you. Senator Whitehouse.